The gentle hum of the air conditioner filled the stillness of Emily's bedroom. The night outside her window was painted in deep blues and purples, a quiet breeze rustling through the leaves of the oak tree just beyond the glass. Emily lay in her bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. The events of the past few hours spiraled endlessly in her mind, each revelation like a thunderclap she could not escape. She had always known that her family was a little different, a little too perfect. Her parents, Claire and David, had always been so loving, so supportive. But there had always been something lurking just beneath the surface, an unspoken truth that neither they nor she had dared to confront. Until tonight, it all started earlier that evening when Emily had been rummaging through the attic, searching for a forgotten childhood toy to give to her younger cousin. What she found instead was a dusty old box labeled in handwriting she didn't recognize. For Emily, when she's ready, her heart had raced at the sight of her own name. What could this be? What secret was buried in this faded cardboard container? She sat down in the attic, the faint scent of old wood and dust filling the air, and gingerly opened the box. Inside, there were photographs, letters, and a small velvet pouch. Emily's hands trembled as she pulled out a photograph. It showed a young woman with bright, shining eyes and a soft smile that felt hauntingly familiar. She looked like a reflection of Emily herself, but older, wiser, with a kind of sadness lingering behind the eyes. On the back of the photograph, there was a name. Alicia. The handwriting was delicate, almost fragile, as though the name had been written with great care. Underneath it, in smaller script, was the date, May 16, 2008. Emily's stomach knotted. She was born in May 2008. Her mind raced. She dug deeper into the box, pulling out letter after letter, her breath catching in her throat as she read words like guardian, custody, and love her as your own. It was in one of the final letters, written in a more familiar handwriting, her mother's, that the truth emerged fully, like a storm breaking the calm sea. The letter was addressed to Alicia. Dearest Alicia, it began. If you're reading this, it means you've come to a decision about your little girl. I know how hard this must be for you, but please understand that we will love her as if she were our own flesh and blood. She will never lack for anything, least of all love. But should something happen, should she ever ask, we will tell her the truth. She deserves to know, when the time is right. I promise you this, with all my heart. The words blurred in Emily's vision. She read the letter again, then again, her mind struggling to comprehend the reality they revealed. Alicia wasn't just anyone. Alicia was her birth mother. And Claire and David, the people she had called mom and dad her entire life, were not. Her fingers trembled as she reached for the velvet pouch. Inside was a necklace, a delicate silver chain with a pendant shaped like a bird in flight. Emily stared at it, her heart heavy, knowing instinctively that this had belonged to Alicia. She sat there, frozen, the truth unraveling in her mind. Her parents, no, not her parents, had known this all along. They had raised her with love, but there was a hidden layer beneath it all, a layer she hadn't even known existed until now. How could they have kept this from her? How could they pretend? The weight of the discovery pressed down on her, making it hard to breathe. When Emily finally emerged from the attic, her legs wobbly, her hands clutching the letters, her parents were sitting in the living room, their usual cozy evening routine interrupted by the sight of her pale face. Emily? Her mother had asked, worry creasing her brow. What's wrong? Her father had looked up from his book, sensing the tension, his face suddenly serious. Without a word, Emily had handed them the letters. the color drained from her mother's face, and her father's hands fell limp, the book slipping from his grip and thudding to the floor. "Why didn't you tell me?" Emily's voice was barely more than a whisper, but it was filled with the weight of everything she had just learned. "Why didn't you tell me that? I'm not really your daughter." Claire and David exchanged a look that Emily had never seen before. A look that held years of secrets and sorrow. "We were going to tell you," Claire began, her voice shaky. "We just didn't know when the right time was. You were so young when Alicia passed." Alicia, Emily repeated the name that now felt like it had always been a part of her, even though she hadn't known it until today. "She was my mother." Her father nodded slowly, his eyes filled with an emotion that looked like both guilt and love. "She was our best friend," he said. "We promised her that we would take care of you, that we would love you as if you were our own. And we did, Emily. We love you more than anything in the world. But you lied to me." Emily's voice broke, tears spilling down her cheeks. "You let me grow up not knowing who I really am." Claire reached out for her, but Emily flinched away, the hurt too raw, too deep. "We didn't lie," her mother said softly. We couldn't bear to lose you. Alicia was like a sister to me, and when she died in that plane crash, it broke us, Emily. Losing her was unbearable. And then we had you. You were our last connection to her, to the love she had for you. We didn't know how to tell you. We were afraid." Emily's mind was spinning. Alicia had died in a plane crash. Her birth mother, someone she had never even known, had died tragically, leaving her in the care of people who had become her entire world. It was too much. Too much to process. "How could you keep this from me?" Emily asked, her voice trembling. "I had a right to know." "We know," David said, his voice thick with emotion. "We should have told you sooner. We were waiting for the right time, but there's never a right time for something like this." Emily wiped at her tears, but they kept coming. She felt like the ground had been ripped out from under her, like everything she thought she knew about herself was a lie. "I need to be alone," she said, turning and heading for the door. Underscore 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 underscore. Now, in the quiet of her bedroom, Emily lay there, the weight of the world pressing down on her chest. The necklace Alicia had left her was clutched tightly in her hand, the silver bird cool against her skin. She closed her eyes, but instead of the darkness bringing her comfort, it only brought more questions. What had Alicia been like? Did she look like her, act like her? What kind of life had she lived before the accident took her away? And more than anything, Emily wondered, if Alicia were still alive, would she have told her the truth? Would she have been able to? The thought was too painful to dwell on for long, so Emily pushed it away. But the questions lingered. A soft knock on her door startled her from her thoughts. She didn't answer, hoping whoever it was would just go away. But the door creaked open, and her mother, Claire, stepped inside, her face drawn with worry and sadness. "Emily," she said softly, sitting down on the edge of the bed. "I know this is a lot to take in. I know it feels like your whole world has been turned upside down. But I need you to know, we love you. Nothing has changed that. Nothing will change that. Emily didn't respond, her fingers tightening around the necklace. The silence stretched between them, heavy and painful. I know you're angry, Claire continued, her voice barely above a whisper. And you have every right to be. We should have told you sooner. But we were afraid. Afraid of losing you, of losing the life we've built together. The words hung in the air, but they didn't offer the comfort Claire had hoped for. I don't even know who I am anymore, Emily said finally, her voice cracking. Everything I thought I knew about myself, it's all a lie. Claire's eyes filled with tears. No, Emily. It's not a lie. You're still the same person you've always been. You're our daughter, in every way that matters. Alicia, she loved you more than anything in this world. And when she couldn't be here, she trusted us to love you just as much. But I didn't even know her, Emily whispered, her heart breaking. I didn't get the chance to know her. I know, Claire said, her voice thick with emotion. And I'm so sorry for that. I wish you could have known her. She was amazing. Strong, kind, brave. Just like you. The words hit Emily like a wave. Strong. Kind. Brave. Words she had never thought to use for herself, but words that suddenly felt like they belonged. Tears flowed freely now, but for the first time since the truth had been revealed, they weren't just tears of pain. They were tears for the mother she had lost, for the family she still had, for the girl she was learning she could become. I don't know if I'll ever forgive you, Emily said, her voice soft but resolute. Claire nodded, her face etched with understanding. I know. But I'll be here, waiting. Whenever you're ready. And with that, Claire rose from the bed and quietly left the room, leaving Emily alone with her thoughts. As the night deepened, Emily's hand drifted to the necklace once more, her fingers tracing the outline of the bird in flight. She didn't know what the future held. But in that moment, she made a silent promise to herself: she would find out who Alicia had been. She would learn her mother's story, piece by piece, and through it, she would learn her own, because while the truth had shaken her, it had also given her something precious, a new beginning. And for the first time that night, as the moonlight streamed through her window, Emily closed her eyes and let sleep take her, knowing that the sky above her would never look the same again.